Okay. Thanks for checking out Museum Ship Mafia tonight. Of course, Hurricane Milton has made landfall. And before we get to what we were going to talk about tonight, I just wanted to mention that there is a museum ship sitting in the path of Hurricane Milton, right in Tampa Bay. And let's see, Milton made landfall, I think maybe about a half hour ago.
Not the eye, though.
What's that?
Not the eye, though, right?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, the eye is. I
think you're right. I think the eye has not made landfall, but the edge of the eye has.
Yes, yeah.
And so I wanted to mention. Let me pull it up again. I wanted to mention this museum ship. We haven't talked about it before. Oh, hold on a second. I'm still sharing a screen. We haven't talked about it before. It's called the SS American Victory. And it's kind of tucked away in Tampa. Where'd my screen go?
Technical issues, folks. Give us a minute.
Hold on a second. Here we go. All right. Yeah. So it's kind of tucked away in Tampa Bay. If you take a look at this shot of Florida and that red marker, of course, right in the path of where Milton's going to be passing through, zooming in, there's Tampa Bay, St. Petersburg just to the south, and red marker again to the north. There's that triangular shaped island, and there is the SS American Victory. Backing out here, tucked back in these channels. So you'd think, well, all right, it's pretty protected. But then they keep talking about this storm surge. And right before we went live, Shane pointed out that the surge that they faced in Buffalo led to some of the problems they had with the salt. Do you want to talk about that for a little bit?
Yeah, I could talk about it. It's not anything new, and hopefully people have an understanding, but it's not a hurricane, but a seiche, right? And seiches push when we have a high wind event. Hi, Matt. Hi, Eric. When we have a high wind event, Lake Erie is known throughout the world for having seiches, which pushes water from Toledo in the west and Cleveland into the east. And so we raise, and there's been plenty of videos that I've done on YouTube about the water levels raising. There's one where, it's cresting over our sidewalk and our promenade. And then when the water rushes back out, then that's what happened to the Sullivans. She made contact with the bottom of the Buffalo River and perforated. So, hey, Cam. Come on, Eric. We got to get out of this 0-2 hole.
Yeah, and if that happens with the SS American Victory,
could you go back to that other?
I can't imagine the hull on these things are very thick at all.
Yeah, and welded. Would you be able to go back to the one, not the closest one, but maybe the second one out?
Which, I'm sorry, say that again.
Of the maps. Can you not the
yeah. Hold on a second.
The second one.
You're talking about this guy right here.
Yeah. Is it possible? We're not meteorologists, everybody, but is it possible if this storm surge hits 10 or 13 feet, it could go over that point of land that's on the left and just start? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, you see the airports right there. I don't know what the elevation of the airport is over the water, but it can't be that high. It can't.
Yeah, that's what amazed me about looking at this when I was going around looking at the American Victory. Like there's land just like 2 or 3 feet above the seabed or the sea level.
Yeah,
and you see like all that lighter green. Anyway, it would be catastrophic. Yeah.
Well, so here's a picture. And to Shane's point, you can see that. I mean, what is that? That seawall. Well, I don't know. That could be pretty sizable.
That's probably about, I'd say 8 to probably 12 feet.
Yeah. In this picture anyway. Who knows when this picture was taken?
Yeah,
I pulled this off of their website, And so the American Victory, the SS American Victory, is sitting right in the path of Hurricane Milton. And the reason I bring this up is, the SS American Victory class transport that caught the end of World War II, final months of World War II in the Pacific, also served in the Korean and Vietnam Wars. But it's been a museum ship for nearly 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to check out their website, www.americanvictory.org, I can only imagine that after Milton passes through, they're going to need some help.
Yeah.
And sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, fingers crossed, nothing happens to the ship. If it does, they're going to need some help. But, you got to imagine that their museum, any of their other facilities. So check out their website, www.americanvictory.org. Their Facebook page simply says they're closed, right? Which makes perfect sense. But once it reopens, with whatever happens with Milton, check out their website. If you want to help, see how you can help.
Mm-hmm. It should be noted that there are actually, while they aren't directly in the line of this storm, there are two other large museum ships in the state of Florida, those being the Orlick, which are in Jacksonville, and then you also have the Ingram, which is in Key West. So I think Ingram's a little out of the way, but I think the Orlick will still get a bit of that as well. So just keep an eye on all those museum ships. They're all invaluable for various different reasons. And make sure that you support them to the best of your ability, or if you even can, because that is how these ships survive, is through people like us who donate and contribute to these vessels and keep them going. So to show your support for them after this event is done, I'm sure it'll be greatly appreciated by them.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Yeah, they aren't going to be having visitors for quite a while, that's for sure. Even if they survive the hurricane, there's going to be other, things that can prevent visitors from coming to tour the ship. Hotels are going to be shut down, whatever, and they're going to need help. What were you going to say, Shane?
Yeah, sorry. You know what? I might not be able to remember what I was going to say. But was there any effect? Probably not from Helene. So there might even, I don't know, but I mean, imagine that for some people, they're trying to recover from Helene, and then this happens. I haven't heard anything that they were affected by Helene at all. So that is a good thing, I would think.
I think that was more concern for Orlick because she is on the east side. This is on the west side. So American Victory was more protected from Helene, but I'm not sure. I know that some of the other ships, like the North Carolina, had to endure the storm, as well as a few others. But I heard that she punched through it quite well, which, I mean, she's a battleship, so that's no surprise there.
On the Cape Fear River.
This is the American Victory's website. If you click on their Get Involved tab, that's where you can throw your support behind them. Because like I said a few moments ago, it's going to be a while before they have any visitors going through this museum, generating revenue, that type of thing. So, and of course, while we're talking about the HINSA conference, if you guys have any questions, not only about naval architecture of this ship or any kind of meteorological questions, of course, Shane has degrees in both areas, naval architecture and meteorology. So throw your questions and comments up there and we'll have Shane answer them for you. All right. And let's see. So let's dive right in. My name is Ken Stano with the YouTube channel History X. You can check out historyxchannel.com. Thanks to everybody for watching tonight. And as always, live crossover broadcast. We've got 3 YouTube channels involved.
I just like YouTubes.
What's that?
I like that. 3 YouTube.
Yeah. All right. You got me. I misspoke. So 3 YouTube channels. Shane Stevenson, curator of the Buffalo and Erie County Naval and Military Park YouTube channel. Check out or simply search for Buffalo Naval Park or their website, buffalonavalpark.org. John Epp, who is on tonight, but technical difficulties with his camera. He's a curator, USS Slater over in Albany. YouTube channels, search for USS Slater and the website ussslater.org. Say hello again, John.
Hello again.
Nice. And of course,
He just
Connor
got a bad
Kilgore.
haircut.
Yeah, Connor Kilgore, monitoring the questions and comments. Also, administrator of the Museum Ships Facebook group with the Transportation Museum of Thunder Bay and the Canadian Coast Guard icebreaker Alexander Henry. Is it still tmtb.ca?
Yes, you got it.
All right.
We can put that to bed.
I'm always going to ask. So thanks for joining us tonight. We can't, as I always say, we can't do this without subscribers and viewers. So thanks for checking us out on this Wednesday night. A few minutes ago, I mentioned if you got any comments or questions, throw them up in the comments section and Connor will pull them up. And also just let us know where you're watching from. That's always a lot of fun.
Yeah.
All right. So before we dig into it, let me pull up this picture one more time of the SS American Victory. Just remember, it's in the path of Milton. So when you're checking out the coverage tonight, watching the news, CNN, all that stuff, think about the American Victory. Keep an eye on it. All right. So let's see. This evening, the main goal of what we're going to talk about tonight was what Shane and John saw at the HINSA conference last month in
Symposium.
Not a conference.
Yeah, it's a symposium. Now
you're going to make me look up symposium. Hold on a second. What's the
You got your
difference?
old dictionary there?
I got my phone. What's the difference between a symposium and a conference?
Oh, I'm going to wait for you.
What?
Just semantical.
Yeah, is it?
I remember when they made that decision. That was 2023's conference. They made that decision.
Yeah, it was last year.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know if we want to get into it, but
I do. Hold on a second. So a symposium is a conference or meeting to discuss a particular subject.
there it is.
Okay, there we go.
It was just one of the groups that usually attends our symposiums.
I like the third definition of symposium, a drinking party or convivial discussion, especially as held in ancient Greece after a banquet. Yeah, that sounds about right. Check out the Buffalo Naval Park's Facebook page. You'll see some pictures where that's actually appropriate. Let's see. So yeah. So what can you guys tell us about what happened in HINSA in San Diego? Because nobody sent me any pictures to post.
Yeah.
That would be a good idea, wouldn't it have been?
Yeah, it might have been.
Pictures.
Yeah.
First time in San Diego for myself, first time visiting the Midway. We had Len on. Len was a great host, and he had to be on all day, every day.
Oh, I'll bet.
With people speaking to him, with he would be introducing every speaker, which was a lot over the course of the 3 days. And he never lost his energy or his conviviality or just his overall demeanor. He never showed that he was tired or exhausted or things like that. So hats off to the whole team at the Midway. From the staff working at the tables, from the 400 docents that are wandering around the vessel, greeting all of the HINSA members and participating museum ships. And it was a great setting. It was exactly what you'd expect from San Diego weather, I think, like 70 degrees and sunny, no humidity, that sort of thing. I think one of the things is there were multiple tour buses, and we were taking like a tour around the city, and then we ended up in what is called Old Town, which I didn't hear of. I didn't know before, but it's like the Mexican influenced early settlements of San Diego. And it seemed as though our tour guide was not talking during the trip there. So he just kind of sat there and drove the bus, where if you talk to other people who were on a different bus, like they got a tour of the city. Oh, this is this. What we're going to see now is coming around the corner is this. But the guy just sat there and didn't. So we didn't get like a historical tour of San Diego, but it was the setup was a little bit different this year, which I think was ultimately good. There were some things that we will look at for next year, because we're hosting the symposium next year. And
it's going to be a symposium and not a conference, just to be clear.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes. It's
Drunk Fest.
Well, you guys are you're combining a conference, right, with the symposium next year?
Yes, we are combining a conference with a symposium, and I can get into that. But the presentations were relevant again. They talked about libraries and collections. They talked about technical advancements like escape rooms and what else? I really like the roundtable discussions, and I hope we can, in our own way, with HINSA next year, keep that going, where they had staff of the USS Midway, and it was like human resources or collections or exhibits or interpretation or gift shop, and then there would be a group of people sitting around the table actually mingling and talking about some of their challenges that they have. And I thought that was a really well done way of collaborating, learning, things like that. So.
And John, what do you want to add?
Yeah, I'll mirror everything that Shane just said. First time visiting San Diego, weather was great. Got to see some family while I was out there. But Len and his team did an outstanding job. The Midway is a beautiful ship. While we were there, it was busy every single day to the public. I can't say enough good things about the Midway.
Yeah, I talked to the first 2 days, that Tuesday and Wednesday, were at the hotel, which was nice. We had lunch outside, which was an enjoyable thing after being cooped up in the symposium presentations for the morning. And then the last day, Thursday, was at the Midway itself, and that's where those roundtables took place. There were other presentations. We would probably not host anything outside. It seemed to really affect, the stick-to-itiveness of the people. You're outside trying to look at big screens with PowerPoint presentations, and the sun's glaring and things like that. So, but other than that, that was even the most minor hiccup. They brought out tents, everything, and then everything worked better after that. But even the last day, which was a random Thursday in September, they had 1,820 visitors on
Amazing.
the third day that we were there.
On the Midway, just that particular day?
Yeah, just on a random Thursday. So
1,800 visitors.
Yes, and it didn't even seem like it because, it's so large and there's so many areas to go. And, it took a lot of, we have an audio tour that we had prior to COVID and we just haven't brought it back. But I spent a lot of time talking to the representatives from, audio tour companies and things like that to maybe see if there's something on our end that we could make adjustments with. But
I had no idea when we had Len on. I guess that was
2 months ago.
Yeah, John might be right. I think it was August.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I had no idea. His title is
the chief engineer.
Thank you. Chief engineer, or Cheng. But I had no idea that he was like Mr. Midway, the way you're describing. He was, like you said, Shane, always on, always leading everything. I did not know that was his role.
I wish I knew more, and I couldn't comment on it. I think that's just internally what they decided to do, was to have Len be like the face of HINSA.
Oh, I see. Okay.
He's the Cheng, so he's high up in the structure, especially with the amount of staff that they have and things like that. So
he's also in HINSA itself. I forget his role.
Oh, he's a board member or something. Yeah.
Oh, he is?
Or he might.
He's a vice president. Oh no, he's a vice president of the Midway. I'm sorry.
Vice president of the Midway.
Okay, all right.
Oh no. Vice president of HINSA. I'm sorry.
Of HINSA. Oh, okay. Yeah. Got it.
All right.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah. Yeah, so when he says they get 1 million people a year, that doesn't surprise me. I can't imagine if on a random Thursday they're getting 1,820 people, what it would look like 2 days later on a Saturday or 3 days later on a Sunday. And I think the roundtables again were so interesting because we were talking about how many docents they have, and they're so engaging, and they have special caps that they wear and covers, and but the woman who's like the head of human resources was mentioning that they are going to begin struggling in the next 5 to 8 years with docent recruitment, because what they've in the 70s and 80s, when these guys potentially retired from the Navy, San Diego was a place that they would go to and retire. And then lo and behold, there's the Midway in 2002 or 2003, and they decide to volunteer their time. Well, now for people who are in the Navy now and retiring, they're finding that San Diego isn't affordable. So they're like the newer Navy retirees are not settling in San Diego the way they once did in the 70s and 80s. And so they're beginning to see that there's a growing gap with that retirement community in San Diego. I mean, and this is a big city. So you walk around the city, or even the area that we were, there's real estate, with the pictures on the windows outside, and you can look at a house and see the value or what they're selling it for. And I mean, my God, a Cape Cod, if people are familiar with Cape Cods, like that architectural style, they're going for $800,000, $900,000 for 2,200 square foot Cape Cod.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see Navy men and Navy women and not being able to retire in the community like they did 40, 50 years ago.
And to your point, her anticipation or her forecast is 5 years from now, they're going to be hurting for volunteers.
Yeah, 5 to 7 to 8 years, I think she was mentioning. Yeah.
Was there any solution offered on how they're going to deal with that?
No, I think we just kind of got stuck on that comment.
Yeah.
To my knowledge, I don't remember what the strategies were to try and correct that. Of course, there are some strategies now beginning to recruit, say, students in college or things like that, that might be interested in doing some docent work during their summer. And they might be able to set up a program where they have a paid docent program for younger kids, or, and I'm sure there will be people still settling in San Diego or in the surrounding area, of course, right? But maybe not to the critical mass that you would have seen in the 70s or 80s.
Could you imagine if they offered, for volunteers, like students, docent positions, they would let them stay on the ship?
Yeah, that might be a perk, right? Absolutely.
Oh, that would be great if they did that. I don't know.
Rent free.
They could. Yeah, but that'd be awesome.
Yeah, no, that's right.
Yeah. So what else can you guys tell us? Otherwise, this is going to be this is going to be our record for our shortest episode.
Well, do you want to talk about some of the sessions that there were? Maybe our favorites?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
So I two of them really stood out to me.
What's that?
Rodolfo from the Lexington, they do the escape rooms. They've gotten to the point where they're so elaborate. What did he say? They do over $100,000 in revenue just with their escape rooms.
Right.
What?
On the Lexington. Yeah.
So do they have like an escape room company come on that specializes in that type
essentially,
of thing?
Yeah. But
That's
it's
a
now
great
they're
idea.
full time, I believe. Well, they basically got a bunch of compartments that weren't being used and made it into escape rooms, and it's extremely popular.
You're kidding.
I mean, how many compartments did they say? 4,000 compartments, and they use...
Yeah, they got like 86 compartments or something. For some reason, the number 86 is popping out in my head, but that sounds like a lot.
What, 86 compartments for the escape room thing? What are you talking about?
Yeah, but that doesn't seem right.
Yeah, no, I think they have the aircraft carrier itself is 4,000 compartments in and around, in the island of the ship itself, and I think they're using like 4 or 5 spaces? Does that because there needs to be a control
Maybe.
room?
Because they
Well,
have
you know what?
3 or
Maybe
4 different escape room.
Oh, well, there you
themes,
go.
right?
Yeah, so it's maybe they're using.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. I wish I had my notes with me. I
Well,
don't.
if they
I'm
have
sure I wrote
4,000
them.
compartments on the carrier, maybe John's 86 number is that's how many compartments are available
Yeah.
for any kind of tour, and so they've got plenty of space to put for escape rooms. But I mean, is that when that came around, is that something you were thinking that could be done on the Little Rock?
Well, John brought it up. So, I mean, John, do you think that this could be done?
We've always talked about, especially Shanna, she would love to have like an escape room type thing on the Slater. Problem is, small ship, most of the compartments are small. The larger compartments are all on the tour route. We kind of tossed around the idea of doing something like an escape room in our off season in the winter. It's just and I posed this question in one of the sessions: how are these museum ships trying to convince their volunteers and their staff and their longtime supporters, hey, it's a good idea to modify these ships for these types of events? You're completely changing the theme and purpose of these ships in some cases. I mean, escape room, come on, but very popular.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'd be able to do it on Slater.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Connor.
Oh, it's just escape rooms are something we've considered before on Henry. The problem is there are only maybe 4 spaces on the ship, which are probably big enough, and all of them are on our tour route. And so that's a similar situation where we would either have to do it on our off days or do it in the end of season. But we're already doing Haunted Harbor, and let me tell you right now, our galley does not look like its normal galley at the moment. So,
Is
You
that
guys
a
are
good
pretty
thing?
successful with that, aren't you?
Yeah, our Haunted Harbor has been very successful this year. We're completely sold out. I actually just learned that last night, which was great because, basically what happened from what I gather was that like the 2 other big haunted events that the city holds, or not the city, but other groups hold, got canceled this year. So we had to add more days to ours because we were getting a lot of the influx from that. So
Why'd they get canceled?
I have no idea. But other events got canceled, so we got. And I mean, like, isn't actually canceled, not social media canceled.
Canceled is canceled. I mean,
Yeah.
all right. Well, hey, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Only a 20-year-old would say that.
Well, good for you guys for being sold
so-
out. I think that's pretty cool.
No, that's quite sad. But when you bring that up, though, John, that's same thing for us. We're a small ship. I think we're we're wider than Slater, but I think we're like 100, maybe 80 feet shorter. So, yeah, we don't exactly have that much space to do something like that with.
Yeah, we've got 2 berthing compartments that we don't really use. We don't do anything with them. So yeah, we could use our berthing compartments, but I don't. As of right now, I don't see how we can make it feasible with Slater.
I agree.
We do need to find something that will bring people in during the winter when we're closed for tours. We got
Have you considered a Christmas / Halloween style event?
What, a haunted Santa?
Well, or just something like Santa on the Slater,
or like dressing up the ship like the Wisconsin does for
forget that.
for Christmas.
Oh my God.
2 million,
1,100 lights.
Even just putting lights up from the mast down to the bow is no go.
Really?
Yeah.
We actually have all the way up our mast down onto our helicopter pad this year, and we keep
It's crazy to me that you have a helicopter pad.
I was just gonna say, I didn't
I
know
know.
that Henry had a helicopter. Oh, you can't
Yeah,
see it.
she
in this
does.
picture.
Yeah,
Really?
she does.
Oh wow.
It actually, hold on. You can see it right here on my.
Hold on a second.
Yeah, bring me up. So you can see it right there.
Yeah, it is.
See it right above the lifeboat.
Yeah. I guess I do. That whole thing is. Huh.
Yeah,
Well,
so you
that
can see
that
our helicopter
railing, when she was in service, that railing would, or when he was in service, I don't know. The Alexander Henry was in
Yeah, when
service.
she was in service, that
That
would
railing
come
would
down
not
when the
have been
helicopter.
there.
No, it
Yeah,
was there. It would furl out.
Oh, it would.
Yeah, so that
Okay.
they would bring that up when the helicopter was landed for safety reasons.
I see.
Yeah, and yeah, I can't say too much about that right now, but basically, we have lights up the mast, and then like going down onto the helicopter pad and looping around the helicopter pad. So
It's just dangerous. The deck gets very icy and snow. It's just
yeah, no, you got a good point.
it's very
And
complicated. So
yeah, ours is just to look at. We don't hold a special event. We just look nice.
So besides talking about like escape rooms, what were some of your other favorite events for Hinsa in San Diego?
Well, similar to the escape room, the Hornet. I'm not sure what their attendance is, but from what I gathered at Hensa, it sounds like they don't get the greatest attendance.
No, the Hornet's in Pearl Harbor, right?
No, they're in Alameda,
California.
Oh, yeah.
Wait,
so like across from
San Francisco,
like Oakland area, I think.
There isn't a carrier in Pearl Harbor, is there?
No,
that's Missouri.
You got the Missouri and
the Bowfin.
Thank you, the submarine, the Bowfin. Okay.
The Hornet does a lot of events as well, like raves, that type of thing. And,
raves.
Apparently, it's very successful.
Yeah,
concerts.
Really.
Yeah, so their presentation, I think, was expanding out how to use a museum ship to earn money, and maybe not so much. And I don't mean I'm not being
Laura
critical,
Fies, was that her name?
I thought it was the executive director who gave the. I don't remember who gave the presentation.
No, Laura Fies. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it was like using what you have to expand out events, and to kind of go off the map a little bit with events. And
well, that's seriously going off the map. If you're hosting raves on a museum ship, you're talking about bringing people on board that really don't care that it's a museum ship. It's just a different place to have a rave.
Correct. Yeah.
Wow.
And they get
sounds like it's very successful.
Really?
Yeah, I think that's
great.
I think they might. John, was there a mention that like they got like 4 volunteers from the last rave because someone came up to the staff and said, "Oh, I really like this. How could I?"
Possibly.
I thought I heard something about that, but yeah, I mean they get 3,500 people.
They have is it Carrier Con? Is what they do? It's like
they
just did it.
Yep.
Carrier Con.
So it's like a comic book
yeah.
Or whatever, or a dress-up convention or something.
Hey, real quick, Connor, you want to answer this question?
I was saying basically, during Henry's service, Canada switched from using imperial to metric, and they kept both marks. That's literally it. They kept both.
Okay, thanks for the question, Eric.
If you look at Henry's early photos, like before 1970, she only has one set, and then they added more.
How many football fields is her draft?
What?
How many football fields is her draft? That's funny.
Like 5 yards worth, or I don't know.
What else?
Yeah, can I go back to the escape room thing?
Sure. It would looks like it's giving you a headache.
It would be interesting to hear, even from the people watching right now, or people who want to leave comments on our respective pages, if this is something that people would really enjoy. Now,
okay, yeah. You know what? First of all, everyone that's watching, if you've ever gone to an escape room, like Steven said, what's an escape room? Which is I've done escape rooms before. Okay, so who wants to explain what an escape room is?
You essentially get locked into a room and you have to figure out puzzles to escape the room.
Yeah, Steven, there's typically a theme.
Yep.
To the escape room, it could be something like a prison or a mansion or or something like that. And then there's riddles, puzzles. I've been to one where it's trivia, and you have to solve a riddle or solve a puzzle in order to get out of one room and move on to the next. Some people have described it as a maze.
Yeah, it's like a high-tech maze.
Yeah, in some degrees, depending on what the escape room is, what the format is, right? All right, so that's my half-assed attempt at explaining what an escape room is. John,
So I'm
you
on
want
their
to go?
website, and they have 3 missions:
Different ones, right?
Beat the Blast, Face Your Fears, and SOS. Beat the Blast, I think, is the one you have to disarm a bomb, basically.
Yeah.
A fake bomb.
Oh, nice! I like the sound of that.
She he talked about they had the local, was it bomb squad on, and the bomb squad failed to
Oh, I
defuse
didn't
the
catch
fake
that.
bomb. But like a group of teenagers, like right before them, like did it in record time, and the bomb squad couldn't figure it out.
Oh, I don't remember him
That was
saying
funny.
that during
That's
the
great.
presentation. That's funny.
Yeah.
Wait, are you saying you have their escape room thing up? Are you able to share the screen at all, or doesn't it make sense?
Yeah, I'm on their website. I got baseball and Facebook open.
Oh, okay. You're doing your fantasy stuff at the same time.
Jeez,
Okay.
I
No,
only
it's
have
postseason right now.
John,
Just
I only
Google
have this
USS
open.
Lexington escape rooms.
Oh,
It's on
okay.
their website.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're gonna do it? You're gonna do it, Ken?
Who, me?
$38 a person with
38
it, and that includes admission to the museum itself.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think John was asking you to do it, Ken, so you can bring it up on your screen. Is that right?
Okay. All right. Hold on a second.
Oh, look at Matt's comment.
What does it say? I can't see it right now. So let's see.
Siesta Key.
USS Lexington. Whoops.
If you guys are curious.
Oh, here we go. Oh, wow.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
If you guys are curious, Henry's draft is 4.9 meters or 16 feet and 8 inches.
All right.
Thanks. Thank you.
Let's see here. So what I'm going to do is, because we are so technologically advanced.
Oh, and the Mets are going to the NLCS, by the way.
What?
They beat the Phillies.
Let's see here. Okay, hold on a second. Let's do
There you
this
go.
view. All right. So USS Lexington Museum, and this is their escape room tab page, whatever. So lockdown on the Lex, ultimate escape rooms exclusively aboard the USS Lexington Museum. All right, that's pretty cool. So, like John said, and are you guys seeing this?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, good. Mission 1, beat the blast, which I think, all right, I thought escape room, oh, kind of cool, but then beat the blast. This actually sounds pretty cool. Yeah, defuse the bomb. There's a timer, 60-minute countdown, and you got to beat the clock. So yeah, and they're saying it's set aboard a real World War II carrier based in part on actual historic events. That's interesting. Let's see. So you gather your team. Oh, that's the other thing. It's typically a team thing. It's not an individual thing. So geez.
It's
If
like
you
a
show up
team
by
build.
yourself, they will pair you with just a random group.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
that's
Right? Or can
Yeah.
you do it by yourself?
I don't know if that would really work, because you have to kind of work together as a team in some cases. So that was beat the blast. And again, this is on the USS Lexington. Mission number 2, face your fears. So this is more of a haunted kind of an aspect to it. I think so. A terrifying past, depths of this World War II aircraft carrier, group of ghost hunters. It's up to you to find out what happened to them. Okay, I see. So that you don't suffer the same fate. Well, that's interesting. And you can even watch a trailer. Hold on a second. For Beat the Blast. Let's see if this works. Oh, it's a YouTube thing. Okay, hold on a second. All right. And let's see. Mission number 3, SOS. Upon boarding the USS Lexington for routine training. Damage control officer. Okay, so there's a major catastrophe, a fire spreads, water levels are rising, explosions rock the flight deck. Your mission: work under pressure to fight the fire, dodge disaster, respond quickly. You have 60 minutes to rescue everyone on board from total peril. Hey, that's pretty cool. Or the ship sinks. Huh. All right. So let me try and pull this down.
Yeah, we don't have the size for that. That's for sure.
What you the Alexander Henry doesn't have room for I mean the haunted one.
Yeah, we could do that, but that's literally just taking our tour route and spookifying it and adding jump scares and a bunch of other stuff. I can't spoil, but we do have a story for that.
Right.
Shane could probably fit a escape room onto Little Rock.
Yeah, no kidding.
Or, you could turn the
Yeah,
croaker into a giant escape room.
We've been talking about it at work since we've gotten back. I don't know. My personal feelings are, as a museum ship, no. As a moneymaker, yes, maybe. But again, not only do you have to have the escape room of a certain size, then you have to have all the electronical equipment, and it goes into a control room. You probably need a safety? You need like the entranceway, a safety brief area, a debrief because they give a debrief. So you have to have committed staff working just exclusively in the control room, making sure that the buttons are working right, and so it's a really high tech stuff. And then greeting, and then exiting and debriefing. I mean, we can't just say, oh yeah, these 5 spaces could do this, right? We'd have to really think about it and plan it out to make sure that the control rooms are near the escape rooms and all that stuff. So,
and did you guys happen to catch? Well, no, actually, I was going to say they aren't just doing this one weekend. If it's on their website like this is kind of like year round, it looks like. Yeah. So whereas, it takes a lot of effort I would imagine, to set this up, or to have a group come on board to set this up, and they are going to do it for just 2 nights.
2 nights?
No, it would have to be a regular thing, I would imagine.
Oh, right. It would be whenever the ship is open, whenever the license is open, it's available. So, right, you're dedicating. You have to build the infrastructure like anything else. You have to build the compartments in the right way, in the right area, so it's not potentially hurting the tour route, and then have the staffing infrastructure to do it right. It would have to take thoughtful work, I would think.
Besides the escape room idea, or I should say, was that the most interesting and innovative idea that you guys heard at HINSA as like an alternative event that would take place on a museum ship?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, I did not bring my notes home with the notebook that we usually have, because I had 13 pages of notes. But for compelling, unique ways. Hey, John, there was that, and I don't know, I think it maybe crosses over it. There was that how to put tech on board a museum ship without altering the ship.
Yeah, I was just looking at my notes on that. Brian Retman from Battleship Cove.
Yeah, was there anything? I can't remember.
While you guys are gathering that up, I just want to, for the people that have joined us recently, we started off talking about the SS American Victory, which is on display. It's a museum ship, has been for 25 years. It's on display in Tampa, which, as we all know, is in the path of Hurricane Milton. So if you're just joining us and you get the opportunity, check out the SS American Victory's website after the hurricane. They're going to be dealing with a lot of stuff. Check out their website, www.americanvictory.org, if you want to try and support them. If they aren't damaged in the hurricane, it's going to be a long time before they ever have tours, that type of thing. So they're going to take a hit no matter what, whether if it's not damage to the ship or to their museum, it's going to be damage from lack of revenue from the loss of ability to have tours. So if you get the chance to support them, check out their website. All right, going back to what you guys were talking about.
Yeah, so what Shane was mentioning, Battleship Cove did a talk on using technology on your ship without really altering it much. So in his case, a lot of it was using, Wi-Fi, internet, and other means for security, safety. temperature, humidity readings, that type of thing. Do you have written policies for all your alarm systems? You know, your flooding alarms, your fire alarms, et cetera, both on the ship and off the ship. Is your staff trained on all of these systems? Things like that. So I found that very interesting because, you know, we talk about that at Slater quite a bit. And we have, you know, of course, alarm systems and whatnot, but just something to keep in mind. You know, is your staff trained on all this stuff?
Well, and rightly or wrongly, Shane, I mean, you guys had the magnifying glass on you when the Sullivans, you know, took on water, right? So you guys were under that kind of a microscope for a while.
And rightly so, we still are.
Are you? Oh, really? Okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, in general terms, yes. I mean, and I think that is correct. It was a catastrophic failure that occurred over 45 years, and rightly so. Are we? Eyes were on us, critiques were on us, and kind of still to this day it is, and that's okay. And you know, now we are focused on dry docking Croker and the Sullivans, and you know, I don't think any. I mean, if you want me to be fully, I don't want to preface it like that, but yeah, I'm sure we're all like, this fundamentally changed the way that the naval park operates, and so the shell shock of the sinking event, putting things into place that weren't in place before. What does that do to the staff? Some staff adapts, some staff doesn't, you know, like that sort of stuff. Like, there's been a lot of internal conversations about, you know, where we continue to need to strengthen areas and what we do well. And, you know, Paul Marzello, our president, is really leading us and threading that needle of, you know, working with all of these various entities. And I wouldn't wish it on anyone. But I think ultimately in the long run, these are the right, you know, the right paths that we have cut for ourselves since that day.
Mm-hmm.
Did I give you a headache?
No, but
all joking aside, and I'm not making a joke out of this, but do you ever have nightmares?
I did. I have. Does it matter? Does anyone want to hear about my sleeping patterns?
I do. I mean,
yeah, thank you.
Because
thank you,
here, yeah, right, because I care.
But no, I
mean, occasionally. I mean, I'm sure not every night, but yeah, every we all have those moments. Those, you know, whether it's a car accident, whether it's, you know, you know, we all have those moments.
Event.
Yeah, right. Traumatic event. Thank you. I couldn't articulate it.
No. If you've suffered a traumatic event, and this is. Yeah, I can distinctly remember 5 nightmares I had about the Sullivans specifically. I've had a couple with the Croker and the Little Rock since that time.
The Croker, really?
Nightmares, right? Nightmares about that, about the boat. And
you mean like taking on water?
Yes, like while I'm sleeping, like something similar happens to the Croker, things like that. So it's a fundamental alteration of how your brain works, and you know, the guilt that you feel, the shame that you feel. I mean, do you think I was holding my head high when the ship was sinking? No, I was. You want to do whatever, but you don't. Yeah, I was so unworthy of, you know, how I felt. I was so unworthy that I felt being there, and then, you know, then the artifacts come along, and then I'm like, okay, now this is where I can interface with them and put my expertise to bear. And yeah, so it's traumatic. And yes, I don't have nightmares anymore, but certainly around that time, I mean, I think we all worked like 22 days in a row. I think roughly about, it's a pretty specific number, but that's because I remember it. But, you know, and not saying on the 23rd day everything was better, but I think Paul was just like, everyone needs to go home. And yeah, I mean, and then to your health and things like that, it just wasn't a good thing. But we are in a much better spot now, and we're happy for the funding. And now we can look towards positivity. The nightmares will occur with the towing of the Sullivans and the Croaker, but once they're wherever they are, we don't have it picked yet, but wherever they do go, then can you almost say that this whole thing is behind you, because it still isn't behind us, right? Until we can get steel replaced.
Connor, I'll ask you the same question. Do you ever wake up in the middle of the night from a nightmare that the Alexander Henry was resting on the bottom?
Well, you see, because I know how thick Henry's hull is, it's not that I fear, it's fire, because there's literally Henry was built in an era where there is wood everywhere on the on the inside, for like, I can send you guys pictures later, but seriously, there's like mahogany wood in the lounge, there's white pine in the officers' mess, there's oak in whatever area. So like literally officers' country and the officers' crew cabins are nothing but wood. So for me, I just think fire more than I think flooding, but obviously nothing's happened. But yeah, I have had that before.
Here's a question. Would you be able to, and I don't know how, I just think of it and I just throwing it out there. Is there any way that you could work with a local fire department to like test that wood? Maybe
they probably could.
I mean, that might assuage some concern. Maybe, it's so old and the shellac and all that stuff. Maybe it gives it a little more like a higher burn threshold or whatever that would be called.
Because that was one thing that's different. So a number of Henrys, I call them half sisters because almost none of the ships followed the same design. Most of them in the early 90s, they got. Did I leg out there?
No, you're good.
Okay. In the early 90s, most of them got the wood removed from their ships.
For that reason?
More or less, yes. They all got removed. Like, so they kept like wood highlights or something to kind of keep the theme, but they lost the full wood paneling and stuff. So it's just interesting. And we've had people like from Griffin, CCGS Griffin, who've come aboard Henry, and he's looking, says, "Oh, so this is what the ship used to be like that type of deal, like that type of thing." So little things like that. Now, I do have a question for Shane, and this is quite lighthearted. So at every museum, at every Henza symposium that I've been able to look into, it seems like there's always a river or harbor cruise involved. Will your river and harbor cruise just have us on the Sullivans as we tow it to dry dock?
That was a good one. I like it. That's how we're going to cap it. Yes, everyone get on to the Sullivans and take that ride through Lake Erie, wherever the destination is. And
is that in Buffalo?
No.
God, people are racing scooters.
And so, wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah.
There was not a river. Wait, oh my God, it's amazing. There was not a river cruise this time in San Diego. There was not. But it was fabulous because it was right next to the Maritime Museum of San Diego with about 2 or 3 other vessels. I didn't get to tour them all, but that was you going back to another era with sail and wood.
Because I was talking to a couple of the other guys that went, and they ended up going on, like, I'm not sure if those were PT boats or whatever, but they went on like their own river cruise thing after the Henza events.
Wait, who did that? I'm sorry.
There were pictures posted from the event, and it looks like some of the other guys from that event, there is like a tour service that's like right next to the San Diego Maritime Museum, and they sent them out on the boat. So they still got a harbor tour of some sort.
Yeah. Did you do that?
No, that was during the sessions, the roundtable sessions. So I didn't do that.
I see.
All right. Well, here, John, let me ask you real quick. What wakes you up in the middle of the night?
In terms of the ship,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a nightmare probably a few times now. Slater sinking same exact spot as the Sullivans. Like the Slater was superimposed over the Sullivans.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So the Slater was sitting between the pier and the Little Rock.
Yep.
And-
Same exact like
Oh,
sinking.
I see what
Yeah.
you're
It
saying,
was,
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
so.
Well, your port side would go down, not starboard. God.
Yeah. Yeah. She'd probably. I tell guests, especially so I don't know if you ran into this issue or Connor. You'll get some tours, especially little kids. They're afraid to get on the ship because it's on the water. And I do my best to explain to them. Essentially, it's like walking on dry land. You know, it's not really moving. Sometimes you feel the Slater moving a little bit, but there's not a lot of water under the Slater. There's enough for her to float. But to kind of ease their fears, I do tell them, well, if the Slater was to sink straight down while we're on board, if you're on the main deck, your feet might not even get wet. There's not that much water. So
That's a good way of saying it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Oh, okay.
No, I was just going to move on to more stuff.
Yeah, I haven't had that particular thing. Actually, I've had adults ask that question. For kids, it's convincing them that we're not going to sail away while they're on tour.
Oh, I like that.
That happens more like at least once a week during our season, I find. I can't speak for the rest of our guides, but it happened at least once a week for me.
Oh, I like that.
All right, John, what else were you going to cover?
So
You were gonna
there's
mention something
three
else.
more. There's three more things, and again, everything at Henso is great. But if we want to talk about every single session, we're going to be here for hours. And I got to get into work tomorrow early. So, Sarah from the Bowfin.
9:30.
No, we got a working party coming aboard tomorrow that I have to supervise because Tim decided to go to San Diego.
What?
So,
Oh.
yeah.
Hmm.
That's why he didn't go to Hensa because he was going to San Diego.
Oh, a couple weeks later.
Mhm.
Yeah, he didn't want to go twice. So Sarah from the Bowfin, she's always a lot of fun to talk to and listen. And she talked about something we probably all have issues with, and not even museum ships, but just museums in general. We love collecting things. We're historians. We're nerds. We want everything. But her talk was about, can we throw it out? You know, and I believe she had been tasked by the powers that be a while back to downsize their collections by a considerable amount. And so she was talking about on that issue. I mean, Slater alone, we have a ton of stuff that doesn't fit in our museum's mission of destroyer escorts. When I went to Hensa, I brought 4 manuals for the Lucid folks because they dealt with minesweepers. So
Nice.
and they were very grateful for that. I've given things to Ryan at the Battleship New Jersey. So, you know, even at Slater, we have stuff that's not destroyer escort related that we need to get rid of.
Or
We want to keep everything, but
not get rid of it, but you know, get it to a better home.
ideally, yes. But if no one wants it, and
Yeah.
a lot of museums have just straight up junk. You know, when I say junk, I'm talking, you know, uniforms that are completely destroyed that, you know, you can't display, you can't repair, or signage. You know, no one likes to throw out their signs. Oh, I might need that in 5 years for an exhibit. You're never going to use it again. Get rid of it. So things like that. And one of her biggest points was when donors are wanting to donate things to you, you don't let them have any control whatsoever over how you display something.
Oh,
As soon as they
Tim
get
has
into
talked
that-
about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tim's talked about
because
that.
then you run into issues.
Mhm.
Pretty much. Go ahead. Sorry, John.
No, I was going to end it with, you want that item because there may also be some money attached to it. Oh, I'll give you guys a donation if you take this artifact, but you need to display it in perpetuity, you know, in this manner. In the short term, it's like, oh, great, we're getting this money, but long term, it's not a good idea to do things like that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And we
Pretty
never do that at Slater. So
You never do what at Slater? I'm sorry.
Take money
we don't take any artifact if there's conditions attached to it.
Mhm.
In fact, I tell people chances are this thing is not going on display. It's going to go in a box and
Correct.
get taken out every once in a while. There's
Mhm.
zero way to display thousands of artifacts on a museum ship.
I'll always use the yes, because almost every person that wants to donate something to the naval park says the same thing. Oh, good. Can we come back and visit it next year when we're back in Buffalo or something? Right.
Yeah.
So I will always say I use art galleries as a great reference, especially the major ones. They only display about 2% of their collection at any given time. What I also then mention is that to take your grandfather's or father's item or artifacts, I would have to find like items in the collection, and then you can build a story around that, and then it might come out, right? But you're not just going to throw out a random uniform or letter unless there's some continuity with other like, to me, other like artifacts where now you can build a whole even a temporary display around it. Things like that. And that's kind of how I say it. You have to craft a story. I'm not just going to take something and throw it on the wall, right? That's how we did things at the Naval Park for 30 years. Just, oh, you donated it? Thank you. Put it up on the wall, right? And now you have compartments of just incongruous stuff. It's the curiosity shop, right? Just throw out every single thing that you can put in a display case, right? So there's no story attached to it. There's no interpretation attached to it. And so as the curator and like the interpretive guy who's has to tell the cohesive story, that's how I tell it with people. And most people will accept that. They're like, oh, maybe okay. They just go right by and say, oh, it'll come out sometime. And I said, yeah, potentially, right? So,
and I always encourage people, before you give it to us, ask your family. I'd rather you keep it in your family than you give it to us as a museum. As much as I want something, keep it in the family.
Right. I always offer that as well, to say you should keep it as a family heirloom. And I use that language because then it attaches that importance to it. And then some people say, oh, screw that. That doesn't matter, to my kids or my grandkids. They won't care. Right. So but yeah, I usually use the term family heirloom, attaching that importance to it. And then maybe they'll say, oh, yeah, okay, that's a good idea or whatever. I mean, everyone's different. And yes, I will concur that presentation was quite interesting. And it seems as though she's very strict, it seems, with the policy, and maybe she needs to be. It is Pearl Harbor. I mean, and I'm sure they're getting just people walking in off the street. I don't know how many people in and around Pearl Harbor would be living there with these items. But if they get 800,000 tourists a year, there might be someone coming from, wherever, Boise, Idaho, and they bring a little something with them on the plane, and they say, oh, when we go to this museum, I'll see if they want to take it. So, and she didn't, and maybe I should have asked if that's kind of, who are the people that are donated to a huge museum like Pearl Harbor? Obviously Pearl Harbor, right? The Bowfin, I should say, as opposed to Pearl Harbor, but they're right next to each other. So who are the people that are interested in donating? Are they people who are visiting and they just happen to have space in their luggage for this button or patch or whatever? Or are they people who live in Hawaii that want to donate? So that's interesting, because that might that changes that dynamic a little bit.
Before I ask the guys about what's going on their respective ships, I want to remind everybody that Hurricane Milton's made landfall, and right in its path is the SS American Victory. We started this broadcast off just by talking about not only it being in the path of Milton, where it's located in Florida. So it's going to be hit and affected. And if you get a chance to check out their website, throw your support behind them, www.americanvictory.org.
I got two more things.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
One thing that I'm sure some people found boring, but I found very interesting. Every year, so PPG Paints is always a big sponsor of Hensa, and so they always do a talk about their paints and their coatings. So they talked about one of their one component paints, the PSX 1750. So I took a lot of notes on that. These paints are not cheap whatsoever.
No, they are not.
So Slater's exterior bulkheads and her hull, especially her dazzle, we use PPG's PSX 700. I think it's a two component. I want to say just to get that is like $500 or $600 for enough to do a small section, let alone an entire hull. So I was intrigued when they were talking about the one component 750. Doesn't sound like it holds up as well as the two component paint, but we may explore that because it's significantly cheaper. Slater's Dazzle was completed in 2014. It still looks like what it did in 2014, which is great. But just last week we had our fall work week. It just finished up, and we repainted our quarterdeck area. So of course we went and used the two component like we always do, and we ran into an issue. We forgot to put enough hardener in the paint. So
so it never cured fully.
Nope. So we had to redo part of the quarterdeck after the work week ended. So I mean, you're already spending a lot of money on this paint, and then we messed it up a little bit, so we had to use even more paint. So we might explore this one component 750 for our exterior bulkheads. Everything else we just use normal PVG, like $60 gallon paint, which is fine for decks. And then my last thing, which everybody should be interested in, and I couldn't find any information online about this, but on the last day, they talked about a bill, the Save Our Ships Act, which may be come before the House of Representatives, I guess. It's essentially a bill. It's sponsored by, I forget his first name. It might be Donald Norcross. I think he's of New Jersey. And it's essentially a federal bill that would have a few $1 million, I believe, that museum ships could tap into and get some money for projects or something like that. So I don't think it's before the House or anything right now, but you may want to look into that and, reach out to your local representatives and voice your support.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about that.
Save Our Ships Act. Yeah, I tried looking it up at work today, and I couldn't find too much on it. But.
Yeah, it's it's interesting that HINSA does publish their economic impact studies. I think the last one was from 2017, and that's always stats to have handy. So I wrote there's $1 billion in annual contributions for people spending money at museum ships, pumped back into the economy. 45 million are $45 million are paid in taxes at local and state municipalities because of museum ships. There's over 2,000 enlistments or commissionings or retirements on board museum ships around the country. So keeping that connection with the Navy and more. So those are nice stats to have when you're looking for funding. That again is as a whole, and then it can be broken down by your specific museum ship. But HINSA does always have. Again, I think this last one was updated in 2017. Now we are kind of back to pre-COVID levels, and so maybe that would be similar today.
And since we're talking about HINSA, to kind of wrap things up, if you're not a member of HINSA, I highly suggest you join. Just the general public can join as a member. I forget the price, but it's rather reasonable. I want to say $50 a year for a person.
That could be.
Find all that on their website. But when you do that, so HINSA covers a decent chunk of the cost to run these symposiums, but the museum ship themselves has to foot a decent chunk as well to put this stuff on. So the more members and donations that HINSA can get as an organization, the less that these individual museum ships have to tap into to do these conferences. And Slater hosted it last year, and I'll tell you what, we had to spend a lot of money
Well, I think
to
you
host
said
this conference.
on one of our episodes it was around 40 grand, right?
Oh, I don't remember the exact figure, but it was tens of thousands. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Not cheap.
And I
So-
believe you are on the hook for the hotel rooms that don't get used, but don't quote me on that.
I remember you saying that when you were asking if I was going to go to 2023's Henza. You're like, hey, just let you know. And I said, all right.
Yeah,
'Cause
so
that was
go
totally
buy
the-
a scratch off for $1, and if you win like $100, get a Hensa membership. You're
Mhm.
not only are you helping out Hensa, you're actually helping out every single museum ship that's part of Hensa.
Good thoughts, John. I agree.
Yeah.
That was
I
good.
agree. That's fantastic.
And,
And
everyone
wonderful
come to
website as
Buffalo
well.
next year and fill up those hotel rooms.
Yeah, bring your
Yeah.
snow gear.
Oh.
Have you decided on a date yet for next year? Or is
Yeah, I
that,
think it's
you know?
it's September 24, 25, 26, 27.
Okay.
And we are actually doing something a little unique. We are partnering with the Maritime Heritage Symposium that is going on at the same time.
Okay.
So we are actually, it's not going to be an exclusive INZA symposium. We are blending it with this National Maritime Heritage Organization. And you know what? I got to get the name right. Just because I keep talking about it, and I
just write on
wanna
your
know-
bathroom mirror, and that way you can see it every morning.
Yeah.
To join Hinsa, it's $35.
Oh, wow.
It's the National Maritime Historical Society.
Okay.
And they are hosting their National Maritime Symposium in Buffalo at the same time. So we just decided to partner up
Sounds good.
with that. And so there will be not just HINZA presentations, there will be maritime presentations too, which I think might excite some of the HINZA folks because
yeah.
they'll be talking about lighthouses or lake freighters or ocean going freighters and commerce and things like that potentially. And so this will really expand out the menu of presentations. We are potentially actually looking at 2 or 3 different topics at any given time slot, I think.
You had me
So-
at Lake Freighters.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, no. No, that's good. So yeah, we're excited about it for next year. This will expand out, the ability to network and to collaborate because there would be, I think again, I'm not in the meetings, okay, everyone. So I don't know for sure, but the people that are in the meeting say this conference could be up to 500 people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And we usually get 150 to 180 at ours. So think of the networking opportunities and the people that you could meet from other organizations and maritime historical museums and things like that we wouldn't normally meet. So
Let's see. Are any of the museum boat community curators into? Oh, hold on. This is an interesting question. Check this out. Are any of you guys actually into sailing or boating recreationally?
I can't afford it.
That's a great question.
Okay, that is. Connor, you said you can't afford it.
Yeah, I'm too poor. Rizzuto, our director, he loves sailing though. He almost graduated from the Maritime Academy.
Oh,
Our current
any
chair is a diver, so I guess that kind of counts.
I used
Actually,
to
almost half
race.
our team are
I used to race
divers.
sailboats in my 20s. I don't know.
No,
If that
there you
counts.
go.
Yeah.
Geez, you're such an adventurous guy, Ken. I mean, holy moly, boats, planes, all that stuff. Yeah, I grew up with a catamaran, so
Oh yeah, I had a Hobie Cat 16. What did you have?
Nice. Oh my God, I'm going back so far, I won't remember.
Really?
This was when I was a teenager, when I was in Canada. We had a Hobie Cat in Canada, but I don't remember the model or anything like that.
Oh.
I mean, I probably stopped doing it when I was like after college. I probably stopped doing it. So that was now 30 something,
Yeah.
But yeah, growing up on Lake Erie and, a summer home in Canada, we had one certainly, but I'm just not going to remember the model or anything like that.
Yeah, I grew up boating on my family had boats. Yeah, I grew up boating on Lake Erie. Weekend at the
Cleveland.
marina. Well, it was actually Port Clinton. And yeah, so it was about an hour. But yeah, spend the weekends up at the boat, all that type of thing.
Yeah. Hey, Rob. All right, looking forward to Buffalo Hens
Yeah.
2025. Go Sabres. Go Bills.
Yeah, he's gonna be going to that regardless.
Great. There's
Lunar-
one hotel room down for you and for you and him. Yeah.
We're gonna say,
I
John.
thought we were going to stay in your apartment, Shane.
Oh wow. Yeah. Sure.
Save
guys.
some money.
Yeah. Just throw me $50 for the 4 days. We're good to go.
Oh, never mind then.
Yeah.
Lunar, interesting you say the depth charge launcher. When we had the movie filmed aboard Slater in 2008, we did get one of the depth charge launchers working, and it fired depth charges into the Hudson River.
That's a good thought. I love that.
We had a water balloon slingshot on our boats. So yeah,
That's
we
cool.
Would, we
that's
would shoot
cool.
water balloons.
Just drive by, sail by. Water balloon fights.
When we would anchor at the beach and all that stuff, then we would pull it out and start shooting water balloons, typically at boats that had girls with bikinis, on the boats, and then we would go. Yeah, if they would land in the water, then we'd swim over there and ask if we can have our water balloons back. So yeah, we did have a water balloon. I guess that's kind of close to a depth charge launcher.
Lunar, we have a wonderful relationship with the Coast Guard up here. They actually were just tied up to us last week. They're usually up here like once a month.
Yeah, we
Doing
also
what?
have a
Doing
really good-
drills or?
But what they don't know won't hurt them. I don't know if the Coast Guard knew about it.
Well, I imagine they were told before filming.
Easier to ask for forgiveness. Remember that. That's Tim's motto.
Yeah. We pride ourselves with our good relationship with the Canadian Coast Guard here in Canada. They love what we've done with the Henry, so we hopefully don't have to deal with that. And we never had depth charges on ours, although who knows? We might need to add one.
Yeah, the Henry wasn't armed at all, was it?
No, she wasn't.
Yeah.
Not even a weapons locker. At least
Yeah, I remember asking about a weapons locker. It's like, nope, nothing like that at all.
No. If they needed armed people aboard, then the RCMP would come aboard. But to my knowledge, that didn't happen.
Since we got the Slater up on the screen, John, do you want to talk about what you guys are dealing with in the fall? Are you buttoning up?
Slowly but surely, tours are definitely slowing down. Coming up next Sunday is the Navy's birthday, so we're gonna have a little ceremony aboard the Slater in the morning for that. At the end of the month, we'll be celebrating the Greek holiday Ohi Day because Slater was in the Greek Navy for 40 years. So we'll have a ceremony for that as well. And then we'll be closing up shop December 1st. It's always the Sunday after Thanksgiving. Be on the lookout if you're subscribed to Drakinophel, his YouTube channel. He did film some stuff aboard Slater just before Hensa, so I imagine those videos will be out soon as well.
Very
and
nice.
he got a whaleboat ride. He got to man the tiller on the whaleboat in the Hudson River. So.
Nice.
Does that cover it for the Slater?
Did you know you're not supposed to put gasoline in a diesel engine?
Yes.
What happened?
So they went to go fill up the whaleboat. It's a diesel engine. When Drac was on, and they pull up to the yacht club across the river and fill it up. And it's funny is you got my boss who's been in this industry since the 70s. He knows everything. And then you got someone else who might be watching this right now, so I won't name names. But he's very smart when it comes to engines, and nobody realized they were pumping gasoline into the diesel engine.
Oh my gosh!
It didn't hurt anything, so
good.
thankfully.
That's
Well, I was going to say it depends on how quickly they caught it, because if you've got a pretty nice sized diesel tank and a few squirts of gasoline that's fine, no big deal. But if you
You're gonna
I guess there was still diesel engine in the engine and it didn't run out, so they would just pump out the gas.
Oh, there you go. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's
it.
For those of you who are wondering where John is, he's having issues with his webcam tonight, so that's
just
why
a bad haircut that he got lately.
Yeah. That's why. So this
I do
this
give
right here,
myself haircuts. So
this right here is John Epp, the curator of the USS Slater out of Albany, New York. Check out their YouTube channel, USS Slater. Simply go to the search bar, type in USS Slater, and also check out their website, ussslater.org.
Let's get those websites up. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right. ussslater.org. And all right, Buffalo Naval Park. Shane Stevenson, curator, Buffalo Naval Park. What's going on?
As John was saying, tours are winding down, especially during the week. I think we had like 37 people on board today. But for events, we're still pretty active. We have a lot of school groups and guided tours coming in. We have another like volunteer day coming up. We had a big one on 9/11 for a day of service for September 11th. We're getting ready for our shipper treat. That doesn't roll off the tongue very well, but ship or treat event coming up. And that is Saturday, the 26th, I believe, October. And and then right after that, I'm very proud to say that I'm the host of the Twilight Zone marathon that we do on board. This is the second year, so yes, come with me on an adventure. Yes.
Connor's not going to get that. Connor and John won't understand what that was.
Probably not. Yeah.
Oh,
so
really,
we'll
Connor? What was Shane doing just then?
You put him on the spot. Oh boy,
Huh?
His dad, Rob will know.
Rob will know, but Connor won't.
No, I recognize it was off the X-Files, right? The original one. 50s? Whatever.
Sorry, Connor.
I know what you're referencing.
Got you. Totally got you.
Yes.
No, but which one has it with the interviewer at the beginning and then they tell the weird story?
Yes.
Pretended to be Rod Serling.
It's
Rod
the
Serling
Twilight
with
Zone.
a cigarette.
Twilight Zone, not X-Files. Twilight Zone.
is that the same as Star Wars?
Yes,
Yeah,
it's exactly the same as
absolutely.
Star Wars. Yes.
Live long and prosper and all that.
Oh, you nailed it, John. You got it. Yep.
Yes.
With the cigarettes, they had cigarettes in Star Wars.
Live long
Yeah.
and the Force.
Death
will-
Sticks. Death Sticks.
Yeah.
They're called Death Sticks
So,
in Star Wars.
yes.
Mhm. All right.
No,
Anyway, sorry.
I get those two mixed up. Sorry.
No, that's all, no. It's fine. It's fine.
Mhm.
We're not. We're laughing with you.
Yeah, Shane and I are old enough to understand, so hey.
Yes, and it's one of my favorite shows on TV, the original ones.
Mhm.
I know they came back with Jordan Peele, did a season or two of Twilight Zones fairly recently. So anyway, so there's that. So we're getting ready for the Halloween stuff. Again, continuing conversations with the city of Buffalo regarding dry dock. Work is continuing on board. We're kind of beginning to get into that off-season mode. We have a lot of projects that we want to make sure the ships are in the best shape possible for Hinza next year. So we have a plan throughout the winter for the interior, and then as soon as it gets warm, then do some exterior work. So by the time September 24 happens next year, we have the ships looking as best as they can, given the circumstances. So, and then we have a Veterans Day celebration. We'll do a Pearl Harbor Memorial Day where we have an FDR reenactor, and he gives his day in infamy. Jeez, a day which will live in infamy. Speech, and then he talks a little bit about FDR's life and things like that. So yeah, there's we always seem to host the Army Navy game. It's usually in December as well. So we have a lot of stuff going on. So yeah, there's a lot of good stuff. And again, really dry dock Hinza, dry dock Hinza, dry dock Hinza.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The website for Buffalo Naval Park, simply go to buffalonavalpark.org to learn about any of those things coming up. I didn't know you guys were still open December 7th for Pearl Harbor. Sounds like you are.
No, I'm sorry, we're not open, but we are going to be. I glossed right over that. But we are beginning to tinker with winter tours. So we've
Or
had a
maybe
few-
just in your museum building, but not on the ships.
no, winter tours.
Oh, no kidding.
3 days a week, 2 a day, guided or specialty tours. And so that's another. Geez, I'm sorry, everyone. I kind of that just slipped right by me. But so this is the first year that we will be attempting through December, January, February, and March. Winter tours Thursday, Fridays, and Saturdays.
Got it. Anything else?
That's it. I'm out of here. I got to go watch some X-Files.
Buffalo and Erie County Naval and Military Park. Shane Stevenson's curator. Check out their YouTube channel, Buffalo Naval Park. And like I said a few moments ago, the website, buffalonavalpark.org. And moving on to, let's get past the Slater. Alexander Henry, Transportation Museum of Thunder Bay. Connor Kilgore, what's going on? Well, yeah, you can check out the Facebook page. Connor's always posting on stuff that's going on the Facebook page.
Yeah, I should. Yeah, if you want to talk about museum ships, the museum ships Facebook page, I also do that as well. So if you want to be part of a rich community all about museum ships from all around the world, then sign up to the Museum Ships Facebook group on Facebook.
Yeah, for those of you that aren't aware, Connor is actually one of the administrators for the Museum Ships Facebook group. So you'll see a lot of his posts that appear on there.
I think we're sitting at 131,000 now.
Jeez.
So we've gained about 1,000 people since we last talked.
Pretty good.
Now, one of you guys needs to go to dry dock so we can get another boost. All right. So as to talk to what's happening on the Henry, we have finished our season. Our final day was the 22nd of September. And now we have proceeded to go into Haunted Harbor, which is our event that we hold here at the Henry. This is our third year doing it, where we partner with the nonprofit Our Kids Count to do a story haunted ship event where people go through a narrated story as they go through, of the haunted ship. And it's been very successful. The reviews have been really good this year. So we're really happy to hear that. The guys at Our Kids Count have been doing fantastic work as usual, which is to be expected. They've been absolutely great every time we've worked with them. And now we're just in the process of slowly gearing up for next year. We're holding some event. Are we holding any more events? No, we don't. I don't think we're holding any more events now, but over the season, we've held considerable number of events. We held Coast Guard Day, where we unveiled the National Heritage Plaque. The Henry is now a Canadian National Heritage Site, so we unveiled the plaque. The Deputy Superintendent of the Coast Guard was there, as well as a number of federal and provincial dignitaries, as well as representatives from Fort William First Nations. So we had that. Then let's see, what else do we have? We had a few other smaller little events. We had a seniors bus tour right at the end of the season out from Winnipeg. So a good number of them came through, and a group of students. So class things went through. And then we also helped the Coast Guard with an impromptu event. They were doing a thing with St. John's Ambulance, and they were doing like a kids thing, and they ended up docking behind us, so we ended up helping them with that. So we had some really cool events this year, some really unique experiences. And yeah, we'll just go from there. And I want to say earlier, John, you brought that up with what you keep and what you don't keep in collections. Our head of curation and collections, Chris McAvoy, we went through our archive this not this month, but about 2 months ago now, in late August. And we had to ask those similar questions because there were some really interesting things in our book and video collection that were in no way related to transportation history of the region. I counted about 60 books about the German Luftwaffe. So, things like that. And you like some of you need to ask the questions like, oh, well, this is cool, but does this connect to us? So no, that kind of made me think of that when you brought that up. But yeah, that's basically what's happened. We're probably aiming for a reopening in late April, May range. I don't know the exact dates, obviously, but we're just taking our time. Once Haunted Harbor's done, we'll lock up, and with a few exceptions, just wait out until the winter ends. And hopefully it's not too cold the winter this year.
All right, Connor Kilgore. I always forget. Is your title curator?
Last year, I was the acting curator. I guess you could say I'm assistant curator as well as senior tour guide. I guess those are the two hats I'm holding right now.
That's with the Transportation Museum of Thunder Bay, specifically the Canadian Coast Guard icebreaker Alexander Henry on display there. Check out their website, www.tmtb.ca. How'd I do?
You did good.
All right. And finally, I just want to mention again, the SS American Victory. We started the broadcast by talking about how it's sitting right in the path of Hurricane Milton, which has definitely made landfall now. Check out their website, and which is americanvictory.org, www.americanvictory.org, to throw any support their way. Yeah, not exactly sure. I'm sorry, Shane?
No, go ahead.
Yeah. I'm not exactly sure what they're dealing with, but with the storm surge, it's not going to be good. So definitely throw your support behind them. At least check out their social media. I know that they're on Facebook, Instagram. I don't believe they're on YouTube, so I didn't find anything about that.
And I don't remember seeing anyone. John, were they there at Hinza this year?
I don't recall seeing anyone from any of the Victory.
Well, the Red Oak Victory was there.
That's Fred, right?
Yeah.
And Dory were there from the Red Oak Victory, but that's out in California. That's right there, right? So
yeah, I'm kind of surprised that the other one, because there's 2 Victory ships in California.
Well, the Jeremiah O'Brien, that's a Liberty ship.
Yeah, that's Liberty. No, I'm thinking of the Lane Victory.
Oh, is that out in California too? Okay.
Pretty sure.
I'm wondering.
It's by Oakland, isn't it?
Yeah, it's by Oakland.
I thought maybe there were 2, but I know Fred and Dory pretty well, so I probably, I'm trying to imagine everyone's shirt with their emblem, the ship emblem on their polo shirt. I thought there were 2. I thought I saw 2 Liberty/Victory ship shirts, but I could be totally wrong. But certainly Red Oak Victory was there.
She is.
Well, like we mentioned, the American Victory, SS American Victory, is right.
Yeah.
Right.
Please,
there.
Everyone, if you can give any money to them, that would be. I plan on donating.
Anything you can do, and just follow their social media accounts. See what they're saying about it. That's how we started the broadcast off tonight. So think about the SS American Victory. Anything else you guys want to cover?
Nope,
I'm good.
All right. Well, my name is Ken Stano with the YouTube channel HistoryX, www.historyxchannel.com. Thanks everyone for watching tonight. We really appreciate it. Hope everyone has a good evening.
Thanks everyone.
Thanks, everybody.